So Days will move forward to take on Phil Nalite from Overdose Gaming. Phil Nalite is a MLG alum. He actually lost in the third round to Select. So he has been up there and
Oops.
done some damage, but got taken out by a fairly big player. So we'll see how he's able to do against Days. As we've said many times before, these players are of pretty high quality and caliber. They often will compete in some of the bigger tournaments and are getting taken out by bigger names. So they're not too far away from main stages in a lot of cases, and it wouldn't surprise me at all to see some of these names being familiar in the next couple months. Maybe as much as a year, but I guarantee that we'll start to see some of the players that we're seeing in this tournament on main stages.
Yeah, we've really seen a lot of players through a lot of teams in that situation where they've been real close to a breakout performance like that.
Hmm.
Before we jump into game two, do take a second. All the information about this cast is going to be on Reddit at the link provided in chat. You can check that out if you have any questions or would like to share the info around with your friends. All of it's there. Also, do follow Das Keyboard as they're sponsoring the SC2CTL. They'll be providing some awesome prizes. Thanks for everyone joining us tonight. Do say hi in chat if you're here. Let everyone know about these games. They are going to be pretty great. This is the first round of the playoffs in the StarCraft 2 Community Team League.
That is correct, and we've got plenty more games coming this evening. Just finished game one as sMi does go up a lead. In the
Yep.
lead, rather.
We're going to jump right into the game. In the lower left-hand corner on Neoplanet S is going to be from Team sMi Days.
And in the top right-hand corner, playing Protoss, representing Overdosed Gaming, it is Phil Nalite.
Now, we've seen Filmlight before, and he has had a pretty good PvZ style from what I've seen. I can't remember specifically what it is. As I said, we have casted both of these teams before. Overdose was quite a while ago, probably 6-7 weeks ago in week one of the pool stages, so we have not seen him play in a while, but I do remember a pretty interesting Protoss player.
Yep, I remember just the same thing about him being a very skilled player and definitely a pleasure to watch. So we will see what kind of strategies he's able to pull out this game.
And another PvZ, Days obviously going for a high aggression push. Last game, we're going to see the same thing out of him with getting the 2 bases and then spawning pool. We have seen quite often. I mean, we saw, I don't know if you watched WCS Europe at all today with where Naniwa surprisingly got ejected in the round of 32. The Zerg that he was playing against went 3 hatch almost exclusively every game, and that seems so hard to deal with as Protoss. Just the amount of units that you can get out if Protoss does not prepare is unbelievable.
It is true. Zerg definitely taking advantage of that swarm style these days, trying to get the macro up early so that they can get the huge armies in the mid game.
But it is looking like Phil Nalite is going to be doing a little bit more of a safe, depending on how you want to call it, build as he's building his gateway and cybercore first in base, then probably looking towards an expand, putting a gas down, starting to mine. Wants to get that mothership core and warp gate as soon as he can.
To Theta saying hello in chat. Hello to Theta. Thanks for joining us.
Hello. Hello, mate. So the reason you do this obviously is so you can get that warp gate up, and ideally if Zerg is going to be putting down that third base, you can get warp gate up, 3 gateways while your nexus is completing and you're completing your wall to put some heavy pressure on that third base. But if Days doesn't put up that third base and kind of goes for a bit of a lower econ build as well, it could be a more even situation.
Only time will tell at this point, as the cybernetics core and the spawning pool are about to finish.
Yeah, Days is mining gas. The pool will finish before he reaches 100 gas, so if he's going to be going for speed right away, it will be a bit delayed as he's only at about 40 right now. Nexus now going down as the Cybercore finishes. Warp Gate being completed, Mothership Core being chrono boosted, so he wants to be sure to get that out in case any Zerglings pop in, as this is not the easiest to keep out those early lings.
Dave's being very smart with his Overlord scouting, trying to skirt them around to see what's going on in both the natural and the main. Mothership Core coming out now to protect against any early Ling aggression. Sure enough, 2 Lings are popping out now, heading across the map.
Those are his scouts. We saw that last time. He scouted around quite well around all the standard places a Protoss would put a proxy pylon, and I think that actually saved him quite a bit because when NYX was not able to get any of those early warp-ins done, but he didn't really get a whole lot of units to begin with. But it looks like Philnolite's got a different plan as he's putting down 3 gateways at the front, 1 on the main base, and as they were put down as Warp Gate was about half done, they will be finishing at the same time as Warp Gate.
Oh, the probe goes the separate direction as the Mothership Core and the Stalker, and it is going to be seen by these 2 Zerglings, so they are going to be chasing it down and hopefully picking it off, but the Stalker and the Mothership Core are heading forward, trying to do what damage they can.
He is sending out a second probe here. He's going down the south path since he has drawn attention towards the north path. Looks like that's going to be going around the same area as the Stalker and Mothership Core as a pylon was envisaged. Anyway, you can see a pylon there.
Now, it is important to note that the Overlord of Days is able to see the Mothership Core of Philnolite. It does now just get out of range there, but Philnolite is still able to see that Overlord.
Philnolite does warp in 4 Zealots at his main base as the Overlord creeps in here. He wants to make sure he gets that hole plug, not make the same mistake as his comrade, but the Zerglings are going to swarm in and take out that Stalker. They're going to be putting a lot of pressure on this pylon, and he can't warp in anything yet because he warped in all the Zealots at home, so he's going to lose this pylon and any aggression he hoped to put on with it.
That's right, and the Overlord of Days is able to see that those Zealots did warp in, so he's not going to be charging the front with those Lings just yet.
And he's got a good number of sentries there too, so he's going to be able to hold this off quite well. Although he doesn't have any ranged things yet, he could warp in another round of Zealots out front or a couple Stalkers in between, but we're going to see what he does exactly here as the Zerglings come in.
Yeah, they don't like what they're seeing, so they're going to walk on out, and the Tickle Cannons are taking down that Overlord. Was able to get safely on that cliff so that the vision of the sentries were not able to follow it, but the Mothership Core is coming forward, which will regain the vision.
Zergling's still poking around Mothership Core, sees exactly what's going on. Knows that those Zerglings are there and they have run away, but the third base of Days is going down. So knowing that the aggression isn't working out for either player, both players kind of stepping into a more bit of economy here.
Days trying to get a glimpse of what's going on, is moving an Overlord across the main base. Does decide to turn it into an Overseer as it's only being harassed by 1 Stalker, and it is going to finish to regain all of its health, drop a Changeling, and then head on back out.
Wow, that's actually something I didn't know. When it finishes morphing into an Overseer, it actually gets full HP again.
Yeah, that is a handy little trick if you're not being harassed too quickly, although if he's not careful, he is going to lose it. And yes, sure enough, he does. Hallucinated Phoenix coming in over the Laird of Days, now going over the Natural as well, so he too is going to get a great scout on his opponent.
Yeah, he's going to see exactly what's going on. There is that Changeling still in the base of Philnolite. And he's massing up quite an amount of troops there at his front. He's expecting some kind of push to be coming, but it doesn't look like it is, as a lot of drones are being made. Just now 3 Roaches in production, and Roach speed and armor.
Yeah, there really aren't a lot of units at the front for Days. There's enough to be able to handle an offensive attack. It does look like he's going to try and do some aggression here, maybe meet the army of Philnolite out in the open range, as these armies could be evenly matched if they were caught in the right angles here.
Hydralisk Den is going to be about ready to finish, as Days does have his third base up, so he's going to be able to go into a hyper unit production mode here real quick. The Robo is in production for Philnolite as well, as he's putting down his third base.
And that it looks like this game is going to turn into macro heavy. There is not a lot of harassment going on just yet. Hallucinated Phoenix again coming in. Oh, but Days is getting more army units. So if he finds out that this third base is here, which it looks like he might be sending some Zergling scouts to go try and figure that out, then he's going to be able to do some decent damage to that.
Yeah, that Hallucinated Phoenix is here still, so he's going to see what came out, and this army is going to be moving up to Philnolite. What is he going to be able to do about this? A lot of sentries here.
Oh, but the force fields were late, and the Roaches, while zoned somewhat, the Zerglings are able to get full damage in on all of those units. A lot of stalkers go down. Many of the roaches are taking damage and still getting zoned by those sentries that were not able to be picked off. But sure enough, Daze is able to do some decent damage here. And more units being picked off as he's microing his roaches back, trying to minimize the damage. He does drop 3 changelings to try and do a little zoning of his own.
Those cannons finished at just the right time, too, so he was able to have a lot of extra firepower there. But the Roach is going to be trying to make an issue at the natural here, as he knows the army of Filmolite is at the 3rd.
And frankly, it's not enough to engage outside of these cannons either. And more Roaches swinging in. This is a huge Roach push. Filmolite's got to be a little bit cautious here. Photon Overcharge does go down. Oh, and they take out the only pylon that was powering those cannons. So now the advantage goes to Daze. The Roaches stream in. Great force fields keeping the army out of Filmolite's natural somewhat, getting some pylon zoning down as well. And able to chase that back. Great defense there by Filmolite.
Yeah, really great defense. And I'm surprised that, Daze didn't try and push that a little bit more, but now just his reinforcements to make it a little bit meatier are just coming up as the Hydralisk would want to get in behind those Roaches.
And Aspire is going down now, along with the 4th base for Daze, so Daze is looking incredibly strong here. Filmolite's going to need to do something very drastic to stay in this game. Yeah, and it looks like he's just building cannons. He just really wants to keep this 3rd base, but in come the Roaches, in come the Hydras, doing so much damage. More force fields going down, doing some great zoning, but those Hydralisks are ranged and they are doing some good damage. He's got to be careful not to lose that Mothership Core.
He did a great job of keeping it back, but he's going to have a big problem with the natural expansion here, as he doesn't have any units here except 1 Sentry and 1 Zealot, and he used that Photon Overcharge at the 3rd base.
That's right, he doesn't have enough energy to do it as natural, and so these gateways are going to go down.
A force field only going to keep these units out for so long as they are taking down the buildings. 1 gateway does fall now, so there's going to be a big gaping hole in the wall here.
And this is huge structural damage for Filmolite. Even if he's able to hold this off, he's going to be a huge disadvantage. And there's the GG.
GG. Wow, that was a really strong game by both players. Both players looked pretty even going into it, and then Daze just had this ramp up like crazy. And at the end there, the food count was double for Daze.
Yeah, Filmolite just was not able to get the harassment down in the early game that he needed to. Allowed Daze to get as many drones as he wanted to, which really powered that mid-game push of Hydra and Roach, and he had the tech to support it, so he was just able to make the bases, get the larva, and be able to just make huge swells of units, and Filmolite just was not able to deal with it.
Yeah.